Thank you for tuning in today on my YouTube presentation for my BUS240 class taught by Professor Greg McClure. Today I'm going to be talking about Chapter 4 about business communication. More specifically, the issue that I picked was not communicating effectively with your employer slash coworkers. That's my main issue I'm going to be talking about today. Basically covering a couple personal experiences. I'm covering upward and downward communication, the importance of effective listening, my top three communication strategies, and then something to leave you, the viewers, with about communication, about what I want you to remember from this entire presentation. So yeah, let's jump right into it. Upward communication is where somebody like me, who is just one of basically a counter person at O'Reilly's, and I'm upward communicating to my employer about something, whether it's a question about a return, or a question about a part, or a question how to use a computer. Downward communication is the complete opposite of upward communication. So it's my employer, my boss Ed, communicating down to me of something I should be doing better, or something I could improve on, or teaching me something, or giving me a task to do. That's what kind of upward and downward communication are. And then effective listening was really something I wanted to talk about. Being able to listen what your coworker or employer is telling to you is really, really important, because if you're kind of dozing off and thinking about other things while they're asking you to do something, you might trip up, you might forget, oh, did he want it? Do you want put away first, or do you want me to handle returns first, or a couple questions about that. So basically I think effective listening is very important in the communication process with your coworkers slash employer. It's one of the most important things, I'd say. And then I'm going to dive into a real quick personal experience of how I used, how I did not use communication effectively with my employer. So basically, there's a little backstory. Right when I started, on September 30th, right when I started here at Pierce College, I was still working full-time at O'Reilly's and a little bit of overtime. And I really didn't know how to communicate effectively to my employer that I wanted to cut down my hours and, focus on school more. When I first mentioned school to him, that I was doing school this fall, he was like, "Oh yeah, school, isn't that all online?" And then kind of just walked away. It kind of made me feel uncomfortable and nervous, and so I kind of just left it at that. And this really made me my first couple weeks, 4 or 5 weeks, to be rocky here at Pierce College. So I was doing my assignments last minute. I wasn't putting full effort in all my assignments. I even had to reach out to you for my first assignment, because I didn't know what to talk about in chapters 1 through 3. And so I ended up talking to my other coworkers, and I ended up trailing back to the manager. So one day I got a call, and he's like, "Hey man, you looking for less hours and focus on school?" I was like, "That's exactly what I'm looking for." So now this week I've gotten down to about 30 hours, which I'm very happy with, and I'm able to more focus on school. I was more focused on not letting my schoolwork affect my work. But it should be the complete opposite. I should not let my work affect my schoolwork. So shout out to all my coworkers for helping me do that. Next thing I want to dive into, I'm trying to make this under 5 minutes, so I'm going to go pretty quick on this. My top three communication strategies. Number 1 is to over-communicate. Number 2 is to clarify and double-check. And number 3 is using the right communication method. To over-communicate, basically you want to have a lot of repetitive communication. So if I ask one of my employees to do something, whether it's putting away freight or handling returns, I really want to over-communicate on what I want them to do. As if you, for example, if you, Professor McClure, wanted to have these YouTube video, these presentations under 5 minutes, you would, say that in the beginning, say that in the middle, and then say that at the very end in the directions. So if that's something that you wanted, you kind of want to over-communicate it to your students to make sure it gets done. Also, never underestimate your listener, because if you basically give them the bare bone information, you kind of expect them, or you hope them to have common sense, it might not always work out for you. And then number 2 would be clarify and double check. So, like I said to you, if I'm looking at for example, assignment 3, and I wanted to clarify that I could use a TED Talk for it because it's not listed here. I would always clarify and double check before just jumping right into something, or even when my employer asks me to do a certain task or to do a certain return in some way, I always want to ask questions and double check what he's telling me um, in case he says something wrong or something I don't understand. The last one is going to be the communication method. So this is going to be verbal, nonverbal, email, text, even leaving a note. If I can't figure out, I can't find a part, and I have to wait till the manager gets in the morning because he's really good at finding these oddball parts, especially for BMWs. I'll leave him a little note in the morning right when he goes to his desk. I'll leave him the car information, the part I'm looking for, and he'll get right on it. I think this is very vital communication. Instead of sending him a text that he might forget about, or even calling him and saying, hey man, can you look for this part tomorrow? He might forget. I think notes is a very good way of communication. And then as well as what you something like for me wanting to go down to part-time hours, I wouldn't really want to text that to my employer. I really want to, sit down face to face and explain why I'm doing it and what to do. The last thing I wanted to leave you guys with is communication is key to personal career success. I was watching a bunch of presentation videos about business communication, and this really stuck out to me because communication is the number one key in order to career success. Communicating to your employer that you wanted to move up and climb in the company, communicating to your employer, like for example, like me, you wanted to actually cut down hours so you could focus on school, and even for me, like I'm considering going into the marketing/advertising department for O'Reilly's once I obtain my bachelor's or associate's degree related to business. So communicating that with the district or even regional manager of O'Reilly's would really help me get my foot in the door of joining the O'Reilly marketing/advertising team. So yeah, if you leave me any feedback on the presentation or what I could do better for the next one, or what I did good, I'd appreciate it. But video ends at 7 minutes and 30 seconds, so a little longer than I wanted it to be. But yeah, thank you for watching.